Welcome to the NTN Nightly. I'm Nisha Charles. This edition's top stories. A tourism accommodation fee to be introduced come April 2020. The region prepares for the first African Union-CARICOM summit, and the 2020 Nobel Laureate Festival has been launched. Following consultations with stakeholders in the tourism industry, government will be introducing a tourist accommodation fee to be used for destination marketing and development. As of April 1, 2020, stay-over visitors to St. Lucia will be required to pay an accommodation fee on their nightly stay on the island. The fees will be paid by the stay-over visitor and collected by accommodation providers who will remit the fees collected to government via the St. Lucia Tourism Authority. Prime Minister Honorable Alan Shasney says the accommodation fee will be used to finance the destination marketing activities undertaken by the St. Lucia Tourism Authority as it promotes St. Lucia's tourism product worldwide.
It's what we call a revenue neutral tax. So the purpose of doing what we're doing is in order to allow the monies to be collected directly off of the tourist, and it's a user fee of St. Lucia. Right, so they're paying, if they're staying at a smaller property, $3 per person per night. If they're staying at a larger property, $6 per person per night. Okay? That money is going directly into the Tourism Authority. So that means that the Tourism Authority is no longer dependent on the tourism budget. So the $35 or $40 million a year that we're putting into the Tourism Authority, that stops. By being now a separate entity like SLASPA, because that's how SLASPA makes its money, off of taxes and revenues that it's generating at the port, both at the airport and at the seaport, it means it has its own budget, has its own board, because there's too many restrictions to it when it's operating within the government context.
All accommodation providers on the island, including hotels, guest houses, villas and apartments, will be required to collect from their stay-over visitors $3 and $6 respectively on a nightly rate below or above $120. Guests at accommodation services sourced through sharing platforms such as Airbnb and VRBO will be subject to an accommodation fee of 7% of the full cost of stay. The fee will also be used to support village tourism development and destination management and development of the local product in St. Lucia.
The changes that we've made are to facilitate making that happen. And so therefore there will be no increase in the cost of coming to St. Lucia, but structurally now we've made it much more efficient in order for the monies to go into the Tourism Authority and for the Tourism Authority now to be able to spend the money.
And that was Prime Minister Honorable Alan Shasney. The Castros Market Redevelopment Project is being considered a fresh start for the city of Castros. Castros Mayor Peterson Francis says the project will not only transform the city aesthetically, but will contribute significantly to the socio-economic development of the country. Anicia Antoine reports.
The government of St. Lucia is currently in the process of reconstructing the Castros market. With the provision market being completed, His Worship Mayor Peterson Francis explains that the container box park is being constructed, which will contain pubs, cafes, cosmetic shops, as well as dining outlets. Phase 2 of the redevelopment project will see the completion of duty-free boutiques, as well as a viewing tower. Mayor Francis stated that the redevelopment of the market will contribute significantly to the socio-economic development of St. Lucia.
There is no way to go in Castros at night, none. So we're expecting, somebody could go to and have dinner. I mean, we are looking at different sides. I mean, they have a lot of people who are very interested. I mean, I remember we have Spice of India. So things that is not normal in a city will be in town. So I will look at part of it. The restaurants will create that. But one of the things that we want to, I've always advocated is that, and which we are getting the feedback on all the time, is the cruise ship. They want to overnight. Okay, but where do they go? So we are looking at that. I mean, right there, it is there. They could go dine, and then have entertainment. We look at it.
His Worship Mayor Peterson Francis explained that one of the objectives of the redevelopment plan is to create an authentic St. Lucian brand.
We do not want that situation of you have a T-shirt printed in Miami, New York, and these things. No. We look at our condiments, like we have, Viking traders, Baron trade, people who do these condiments and so on. We want things like people to be able to sample these things the right way. We want, like you have a cooking of a fish, cooking of meat, using the different things and so on.
Mayor Francis noted that there should be a separation between individuals manufacturing, wholesaling and retailing.
We want the manufacturers to think and improve on the quality of the products. There's no reason for somebody who in Brazil to come to Castros just to sell two chairs, to sell two pots, to sell two. These things they should be able to think and manufacture. And and people go and get it and things. So we know things will be better because you come with two chairs, some so sell to sell in the market. You understand? So we want people to manufacturers to manufacture and improve on the quality of the work. So people could go to things and buy wholesale in things. So the person in thing have no reason to come down here.
From the Government Information Service, I am Lucia reporting.
The role of the Ministry of Economic Development cannot be understated. So says Minister for Economic Development, Housing, Urban Renewal, Transport and Civil Aviation, Honorable Guy Joseph, as he explained that the ministry plays an important role which involves analysis of the country's economic position and the development of plans geared towards growing the economy. This, he says, often results in the short-term, medium-term and long-term strategic planning for the overall development of the country. He says the ministry maintains good working relationships with financial institutions and government allies, all of which play a significant part in the country's development.
The Prime Minister has indicated on several occasions previously that the aim of St. Lucia is to double its GDP because we are performing way below our ability and or our potential. If that can be done, then St. Lucia would be on the path to meeting its potential. And that is where the focus of the Ministry of Economic Development comes into place. What are the plans? So take, for example, we are also responsible for housing. Just to highlight a point on this, what type of housing structure is suited for what we want that would have the greatest impact on our local economy, as an example. And these are things that people don't pay much attention to. But these are the areas of focus that we are going into, so that it's not just whether you spend a few dollars more on doing something, but it is the impact that it is going to have on your overall economy.
Honorable Guy Joseph asserted that doubling the GDP is not an impossible feat. However, the required work must be executed. Smaller countries with even less resources than St. Lucia have been able to attain increased GDPs. The minister highlighted the importance of the various industries and their contribution to the economy. He explained, however, that these industries continue to face several challenges that must be addressed.
We have a challenge with manufacturing. Number one, our cost of electricity is way too high to be able to be competitive. So we have to choose where do we have the competitive advantage. Can we just go into general manufacturing? Or should we go into niche markets where we have a competitive advantage in what we can produce? So take handicraft as an example. 90% of what we sell is found everywhere else. You go to St. Vincent, you go to Barbados, all that is different is the name. I have said, and when I addressed the trade show between St. Lucia and Taiwan, I said that we should develop a place in St. Lucia that we call Authentic St. Lucian Avenue, where everything that is in there ought to be made in St. Lucia. So we may not be able to produce televisions and fridges and radios, but there are things we can do.
The minister also explained the impact of several projects on the growth of St. Lucia's economy, including the Castros Market Redevelopment Project.
The work we are doing in the Castros market is not just repaying the market. It is to position the market to become that showpiece where everything sold in the market should be authentic St. Lucia. So whether it be the areas of handicraft, we know that Choiseul is famous for our clay products and things of that nature. So that whatever is manufactured, whether it be by Windward and Leeward Brewery, whether it be by any of the other barons, and you name it, that what is going to happen when somebody enters the Castros market and they buy anything, they can know that this is 100% St. Lucian product. So that's an area of manufacturing that people may not see as much, but is actually very valuable.
And that was the Minister for Economic Development, Housing, Urban Renewal, Transport and Civil Aviation, Honorable Guy Joseph, speaking on NTN's program In Focus. Within the next 6 months, the CARICOM region will be working to jointly host the first African Union-CARICOM Summit. Incoming Chair of CARICOM and Prime Minister of Barbados, Honorable Mia Motley, made the announcement in her New Year's message to the community. Michelle Nurse of CARICOM News Time reports.
Prime Minister Motley spoke of reaching out to the African continent and of laying the foundation for greater cooperation between CARICOM and Africa.
We have already started discussions at the highest levels on the African continent with people with whom many of us share a common ancestry and history, and who, like us, recognize the imperative of mutual cooperation as we go into 2020. CARICOM has accepted the offer of shared office space from the government of Kenya in Nairobi, and we need to open that office urgently and advance our interests in the city that is indeed the home of the UN Environmental Programme and UN Habitat, both of which deal with issues that are vital to our own development in the Caribbean community. Therefore, within the next 6 months, we will also work towards jointly hosting the first ever African Caribbean Summit, African Union-CARICOM Summit. We need to resolve as a region that we will not leave that gathering without laying the foundation for tangible progress in areas of direct air and sea access across the Atlantic, greater trade in goods and services, and more cultural exchanges between our regions.
And this is the NTN Nightly. We'll be back after this.
Imagine being away from home, surrounded by danger and hostility, unable to escape or speak the language, and being exploited. It might sound like fiction, but for 40 million victims of human trafficking worldwide, it is a reality. Innocent people enticed by the promise of a new life, then enslaved into forced labor or sex trafficking. Human trafficking happens in plain sight. Know the signs, see it, report it. To report suspected cases of human trafficking, call the TIP hotline at 847.
Welcome back. The annual Nobel Laureate Festival celebrations got underway on Wednesday as the Cultural Development Foundation launched activities for the month-long celebrations. The 2020 Nobel Laureate Festival is being held under the theme Celebrating Excellence.
The Nobel Laureate Festival Committee has officially launched the calendar of activities for the Nobel Laureate Festival 2020. The festival is being commemorated from Friday, January 10th to Thursday, February 6th, 2020, under the theme Celebrating Excellence Vision 2020. Chairperson of the committee, Her Excellency Dame Paulette Louisi, noted that the purpose of the festival is to recognize the achievements of our two laureates and their vision for St. Lucia.
Excellence is not just a destination, but a journey. The notion of pursuing excellence requires that we constantly fine-tune our craft, whatever that craft may be, until we near perfection. That journey and these achievements of our laureates should be our inspiration. Had they lived, Sir Arthur would have been 105 years old and Sir Derek 90 years old this January 23rd. Let not their years relegate them to the backwaters of history and our memory. Instead, let it inspire us to believe that the longer we live, the more opportunities we perhaps have of excelling.
Partner of Sir Derek Walcott, Sigrid Namer, noted that renowned sculptor Jalim Yudovic is currently designing a memorial to be placed at the gravesite of Sir Derek Walcott. Ms. Namer explained that the festival also seeks to highlight and recognize the quality work being done by artists in St. Lucia. The Nobel Laureate Festival will include a Walcott House open house, the National Awards of Excellence, a school music festival, and a church service, to name a few. The first event of the festival is a dance workshop organized by Shatoya Jabatis, owner of the Sure Experience, and it is slated for Saturday, January 11th.
I will be bringing down international choreographers from the States and from Barbados to work with dancers in St. Lucia. And it is a cultural exchange. So we also have 2 local choreographers working with us as well. So the program goes like this. We have Gideon Ambrose from Silver Shadow, also known as G9. He will be doing a hip-hop fundamentals class. Then we have Jamie Ford from Helen Folk. He will be teaching a traditional folk, like our St. Lucian culture, and not only to the participants, but to the international choreographers as well. So that's where the culture exchange comes in. After that, we have a performance by XO Nads and then by Ezra the Fun Machine, so that the international choreographers can also get a taste of what it is to be St. Lucian.
First Citizens Investment Services Limited has been sponsoring the Nobel Laureate festivities for several years. Omar Birch-Smith, country manager of First Citizens Investment Services Limited, expressed his company's excitement to be included in the festival.
It is our mandate to be a part of ensuring that our culture continues to grow. And there's no better expression of our culture, no better appreciation of our culture, where we are, where we've come from as a people, and where we're going than the Nobel Laureate Festival.
The Nobel Laureate Festival was launched on Wednesday, January 8, 2020. From the Government Information Service, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
The St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority continues to embark on initiatives to enhance the country's environmental integrity and the health of its people. Recently, the SLSWMA met with members of the Southern Business Association to discuss impact, if any, of the closure of the V4 landfill. Public awareness, engagement, and the transfer of factual and up-to-date information is a continuous process. It is with this in mind that the St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority met with members of the Southern Business Association to discuss if and how the closure of the V4 landfill has impacted their business's garbage disposal routine.
We wanted to meet with the business community in Vieux-Fort simply to let them know what is happening. We have not met with them, we have not communicated with the businesses, or put it that way, the users of the site in the south of the island, telling them exactly what our plans are for the Vieux-Fort, not so much for the Vieux-Fort landfill, but for the plan going forward when the Vieux-Fort landfill is closed.
The process of landfilling, which involves the dumping and burial of waste at this site, was halted since October of 2019. The Vieux-Fort Solid Waste Management Facility site has been recommissioned as a temporary transfer station. All waste from the Southern Collection Zone is now transported directly to the Dayglow landfill. The business community was updated on the third phase, which is the introduction of pyrolysis units for the disposal of waste from the south. These units will be operated in strategic locations closer to the various collection points for greater efficiency.
The initiative and the move to becoming landfill free by 2030 for St. Lucia is a step in the right direction. I think this gets us to the point where we can begin speaking about sustainability in a more realistic way. We can begin teaching our children the concepts that are involved in creating that sustainable livelihood for all of us. And I think it gives us an opportunity as citizens to all play our part in ensuring that the environment is being taken care of and that we are doing what it is we need to do to ensure that we will be able to enjoy our beautiful St. Lucia.
The St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority is mandated to enhance St. Lucia's environmental integrity and the health of her people through the provision and management of an integrated system of public education and awareness, and for the collection, treatment, recycling, and disposal of solid and hazardous waste. With the closure of the VA4 landfill, the authority has stepped up its monitoring and enforcement teams to curb and prosecute perpetrators of illegal dumping. And do stay with us, we'll be right back.
La main propre, c'est chemin bonne santé. Il est absolument nécessaire pour laver la main si vous voulez une bonne santé. Quand même, si vous prenez glossitaine, ou ça fait ces bagailles là. Écoutez, lavez la main souvent et puis glonette avec savon, après condition qui a 6 mains 20 minutes. Par exemple, on pour laver la main après vous changer d'arrière-part, servir très vite. Occuper les gens qui sont blessés et bien malades. Après occuper les animaux et après vous entamer les ordis. Et si vous prenez de l'eau, vous savez ça y est hand sanitizer et bien alcool pour 30 secondes. Lavez les mains souvent. Ça c'est une manière pour empêcher maladie. Si vous voulez plus d'informations, priez Bureau Information Santé à numéro 468 53 49.
And here's a look at what's happening to us weather-wise.
Partly cloudy skies, occasionally becoming cloudy with some scattered showers. The Atlantic high-pressure system will continue to generate strong easterly winds across the eastern Caribbean region during the next few days. Low-level clouds drifting along the easterly wind flow will cause occasionally showery periods over our region during the next 24 hours. The tide for Castros Harbour was high at 2:23 p.m. and will be low again at 9:22 p.m. The tide for VA4 Bay was high at 3:30 p.m. and will be low again at 10:49 p.m. The seas locally rough to rough with waves and northerly to northeasterly swells 7 to 11 feet or 2.1 to 3.4 meters. Small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise extreme caution due to strong winds and rough seas. The sun will rise Friday at 6:30 a.m.
And that brings us to the end of the NTN Nightly. Join us next time at 7 p.m. with a repeat at 7 a.m. You can also catch up with us anytime on the St. Lucia Government Facebook page or YouTube channel. I'm Nisha Charles.